Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the On the Pony Express podcast. We've got a jam-packed show for you guys with tons of interviews being unloaded from ACC Media Days. We'll break down Billy White III committing to SMU basketball for this season, what that means, and we'll do a little bit of fall camp rapid fire to cap your week on this edition of the On the Pony Express podcast, which starts right now.
You can't plan for everything, but you can be ready for anything. That's where we come in. Northwest Insurance Agency covers the wait, what? Moments in life with real coverage, real people, and real fast help. We offer sombrero-style coverage that protects your possessions, your loved ones, and everything else that fits under a sombrero. Call us today for a quote at 855-887-5656 or visit us at nwagencies.com.
This is the On the Pony Express podcast, part of the On3 network. Check out all the SMU coverage you need at ontheponyexpress.com. Now, here's your host, Billy Embody.
1, 2, 3, let me go.
Happy Friday, everyone. It is a long podcast for you guys to get through the weekend. We're going to be joined by the CW's Will Blackman, who actually drew SMU Baylor as one of the games he's going to be doing the analyst role for this season as his career continues to take off since his playing days are over. It was fun to catch up with him. We've got a relationship from when we were both with the Redskins. We also talked to TJ Pittinger, who covers the Seminoles and is also one of the national college football voices out there on YouTube with his own platform as well. We caught up with a pair of Stanford players, Seami Pal and Tev Teiti, as well as Wes Bissainthe, Miami linebacker. So jam-packed edition as far as interviews, kind of unloading the rest of them from ACC Media Days. But of course, on the Pony Express podcast, we want to talk a little bit of SMU as well on this one, and we'll kind of get back to a regular cadence next week. We'll have Sam Erger on at some point to preview the season for her. But we do also want to remind you that we're presented by our friends at Northwest Insurance Agency. Mark Villasana, give him a call, 214-352-5656. You heard him in the opening. They'll help you with your insurance rates and get you in the right coverage and make sure you're protected whenever you need. Also, do want to remind you guys, there is still time to buy tickets for Sunday's kickoff event at Manny's Tex-Mex on Mockingbird. It's $100. We have Kevin Jennings, Damon Evans, Jordan Hudson, and other special guests set to join us there. We've had a bunch of you guys join up and buy tickets, so we appreciate you guys for doing that. There is still space. The link to buy tickets is at ontheponyexpress.com. So it's on the front page. Find it, and we look forward to seeing you Sunday. It's going to be a blast. So without any further ado, let's get into the pod. SMU Basketball did pick up a commitment last week as Billy White III out of Veterans Memorial High School down in Corpus Christi. He's from Corpus Christi originally, committed to the Mustangs and reclassed up to the class of 2025. He's a top 50 overall prospect in the country, the number 12 small forward nationally, and the 4th ranked prospect in Texas. This really cements what was an elite 2025 class for SMU already. He picked the Mustangs over the likes of Kansas, LSU, Maryland, Oklahoma, TCU, Texas A&M, and others. A massive commitment for Andy Enfield and his staff, as you know, they get a player now who can come into college at around 6'8" and clearly needs to add some weight so he can get into the college weight room, start working on that. But at the same time, he can really shoot the basketball. And so this is a good opportunity for them to get him into the program and start working on him right away. And his dad, Billy White Sr., is the head coach at Veterans Memorial. So this is a basketball family. This was a really in-depth, thought-out decision by the staff, by Billy White and his family to do this, to get him ready for the really for the 2026-2027 season. And SMU can see if maybe they can use him in this season in some role. But, when you're this far late into it, there's an opportunity to do something like this. It's a decent chance that he's going to end up redshirting. And so that's kind of worth noting when it's talked about and kind of what to expect from Billy White, because he's in a different boat than guys like Jaden Toombs and guys like Jermaine O'Neal Jr. and some of these other players that SMU has on the roster. And so Billy White III, I mean, a massive, massive pickup for SMU as they get him on board and in the boat. I actually had ran into him and his family when this happened, or not when this happened, but they were on campus starting the visit. And I was at Shug's and I was like, who is that? I recognize him. Sure enough, it was Billy White and his family. So that was kind of how we broke the news that he had moved up his official visit from what was going to be early September all the way to now, or like 2 weeks ago now, as he really moved up his process. And it's a cool deal for him to be able to do that and now get into a college weight room and get to work on his college career. So, man, Andy Enfield and his staff finish off a top 10 recruiting class in their first full year at the helm of SMU. Just an incredible job. Now they turn their attention to the 2026 class. We've been reporting on some of the guys that are starting to set visits. We've talked about some of the players that they've already had on campus. We're going to kind of continue to monitor that at ontheponyexpress.com as things will heat up with football season coming and visits being set. So subscribe for just $1 for your first week. And when you are an annual member, you can get 1 year of The Athletic included in your membership. So take advantage of that deal. Find the link and instructions on our message board to take advantage of that. So as we continue on the podcast, a couple of kind of quick hits from SMU football practice this week. You know, this has been, I think, that time of camp where Rhett Lashley is looking to get them to elevate their game. It's halfway through camp. I mean, camp's kind of more than halfway over because they're going to get to game week prep here pretty soon. But it is a time when you're looking for the players to gut it out, to find ways to find that next gear, to find that next level. And that's what Rhett Lashley and his staff have been working on. And I think with this team, you're seeing that. You know, they've broken up the mundaneness of camp by going to the Star last weekend, which was really cool. They had the ACC road trip come through last Friday. You know, you had that fanfare of Eric McLean, Jimbo Fisher, some of the other great ACC network crew rolling through that you know got their time with SMU. And I think it's now at the point where you could see the light at the end of the tunnel. You see that early in the week where they kind of, you know, had all of that change and different things going on. Well, then they were able to take it and get into it this back half of the week. They were off on Thursday, and now they're finishing off this weekend with the former player barbecue on Saturday. We're excited to see a bunch of you out there. Myself, Hayden Howerton, will be out there grabbing some interviews and doing some fun things on Saturday, tomorrow, as you're listening to this. So if you're a former player and you listen, we'd love to talk to you. So come find us on campus as we'll be recording live from Weber and from practice. So looking forward to that. But you know, I think one of the biggest things that we saw this week was Kyle Cooper met with the media. And I think this is worth being talked about because I put up an insider piece at ontheponyexpress.com and just kind of said at the running back position, this is a group that, you know, Kyle Cooper's comments earlier this week probably came off as he just seemed a little nervous about it. But I think, and from talking with sources, this is a running back room that has a lot of talent and a lot of intrigue. And no one really knows, though, who's going to, in fact, take it to that next level and turn up their play when the season actually begins. And that's the hard part when you try to, you know, take what you see in camp and then you try to project it into the next, part of the process, which is getting on the football field and playing games against other teams and seeing how your blocking schemes work, seeing, you know, what player can gut it out and get you the extra yards or make a guy miss. You know, Kyle Cooper talked a lot about that ability to make a guy miss. And you have a Derek McFall who's really shifty. You have a TJ Harden who's pretty well-rounded, Jermico Green has that extra gear, it looks like, as far as, shiftiness and twitch, being the youngest guy in the room. And then you also have Chris Johnson Jr., the home run hitter, who, he did get banged up at the Star, but he seems like he's going to be okay for the start of the season, which is big. And he'll be, somebody that they certainly want to get there because he's been having a good camp. So the running back room is probably the one where we finally got a little bit of a clarity around that. And that the clarity is, you don't know who's going to be the guy who emerges or who the starter is or who's going to be the starter at the end of the year, because somebody is going to step up, is the feeling around this football program. And so when Kyle Cooper's kind of asked, well, what have you seen? Well, there's a lot of excitement there. And you're trying to, at the same time, make sure that with these 4 mouths that you're trying to feed, that you also give them the respect they're due as far as guys that are competing against each other and competing well and giving them, the staff, a hard time to think about certain things. So the running back room is really intriguing for SMU football in the back half of camp. Do want to remind you guys as well that we are presented by our friends at StatusJet, statusjet.com. Reach out to David Henry and his team today, and they'll get you in their system as far as, what plane, what kind of setup you and your family and your friends would like to look at for some of these game day trips for SMU. Do you want to go up and back and see SMU at Missouri State? They can handle that. Do you want to go to SMU at Clemson? They can handle that. And when you mention On the Pony Express, you get a discount on a round trip flight with our friends at StatusJet. So reach out to them today and plan the trip of a lifetime this fall with StatusJet. I think, on the defensive side of the ball, the biggest position battle that is still left to be determined is the nickel position. And there are other positions that they're continuing to work through and things like that. But when you look at Lamadrick Spencer, Jaden Milner-Jones, Kyron Chambers, those are the 3 that have long been in that conversation. And they're certainly still battling away, trying to earn the trust of Ricky Hundley so that when he throws them out there on game day, they're the ones that he really feels good about and he can work with. And then as the games unfold, you'll see somebody maybe rise to the top. It was just 2 years ago that CJ Sanders and Brandon Crosley were playing there together, and CJ Sanders ended up being the guy by the end of the year. Brandon Crosley kicks out to corner after redshirting. Remember that year that SMU won the AAC. So a really position that I think we're going to see, I'm not saying a drop off, but CJ Sanders was so good that he was such a fixer of so many things at that position because he played it so well. SMU needs to find the cream that rises to the top at that position, arguably more than any other position on this football team that's up for grabs, because it is a difficult position to play because of the matchups you face, all the things you're asked to do, and you're kind of in the box too. So you've got to be able to tackle and be physical and be durable. It's a challenge, but that's why they have brought in these options. They signed Lamadrick Spencer out of junior college. They have Jaden Milner-Jones coming back. They have Kyron Chambers coming back. Maybe one of these younger guys emerges and gets a shot at it. So very, very interesting position to watch play out. And we will give you guys a full update on the rest of the position battles at ontheponyexpress.com on this Friday. So make sure you check out the full story on that for just $1 for your first week. You can read on the Pony Express, and then you get hit with the full amount after that. But make sure you sign up. The message board's been great. Lots of excitement going on as the season approaches. So again, come join us on Sunday at Manny's on Mockingbird as we celebrate the start of football season with our kickoff luncheon. So hopefully you guys will be there. Doors open at 10 a.m. and the program starts at 10:30. So we'll catch you guys there as you go to ontheponyexpress.com and sign up and pay for your tickets. So you get buffet, food, 2 drink tickets. It's going to be a blast. So really looking forward to this event, and we hope you guys will join us there at Manny's. So with that, guys, we're going to get into our interviews. We're going to knock these out and let you guys hear from these 5 interviews we've got the rest of the way. Some short, some long, but we hope you guys enjoy them as they bring a bunch of different perspectives, whether it be the players or whether it be these analysts. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So hope you guys enjoy them. But before we go to them, do want to remind you guys about our friends at the Thomas Auto Group, of course. Make sure you head up 75 in McKinney and visit any of their 4 dealerships and learn about the Thomas Promise today. And also, when you mention On the Pony Express, take advantage of employee pricing on new and pre-owned vehicles today. So hope you guys enjoy these interviews, and we'll catch you next time on another edition of the On the Pony Express podcast. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Welcome back to the On the Pony Express podcast. Really excited to be joined by an old friend.
What's happening?
We were Redskins together.
What's happening, man?
Will Blackman, part of the CW broadcast crew for this season of ACC football, as well as Good Morning Football. You are rolling right now. Congratulations.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. Like this media industry is a beast. It's super hard. No, I'm serious. And I've been doing this for about 7 years, and just trying to get locked on, man. And eventually this year I got a bunch of spots, and then finally it paid off. So I'm just happy. I always wanted to call games, so now that I get a full season, it's pretty sick. So
we'll do it in color. You lead off with SMU Baylor, old Southwest Conference rivalry game. It's gonna be hot.
I was just gonna say it's a noon game. It's gonna be cooking right now. Yeah. Oh man, so yeah, but it's at least it's it's Texas, man, and I'm excited to get football. It's funny, the first game I ever called, I remember it was for FS1, and they said we got a game for you, and I'm like, first of all, who canceled? Who's playing, and where is it? Oh, when is it rather? And I remember it was Thanksgiving, New Mexico, and I was like, oh man. My wife was like, hey, if you want to do it, you got to go. So I went. Actually, that was my second game. My first game was I think it was called the Causeway Classic, I believe it was, UC Davis and Sac State. And that game was moved to Reno because of the fires in 17. So me and my play-by-play guy, I think it was Bill Doberman, we had a drive from Sacramento to Reno. We had no spotter, no notes, no film. Nuts. But I had a blast. So here I am. Now I got all that with the CW. We're good. We're good to go.
What's your overall take on the ACC this season, from what you've been studying up, getting prepared for all of that so far?
Yeah, I think now with the new coaches are settled, we just spoke to Coach Fran Brown. Obviously did a great job last year. And he's obviously the ultimate culture builder. He was brought in because of his recruiting skills, what he can do. He built a strong staff. So, and to see if they can plug and play with the quarterback, losing McCord, who I thought was the best quarterback in the conference last year. And then, non-biased, but with BC, with Bill O'Brien, and I was on staff last year. And when we came in last year, we inherited the team. And, we tried to recruit who we could. We kind of honor some current commits. And we also didn't get a full offseason of training. We didn't get that. So we had how can we quickly get these guys up to speed from a playbook standpoint, and how can we get them in shape, because we couldn't get them strong. We didn't have enough time. So I think I'm gonna be real. We went 7-6, but there's a strong argument, man. We could have went 10-3, 11-2. I'm telling you.
SMU found out a little bit. It was a tight game.
Yeah, Missouri was a tough game. Yeah, Louisville, UVA, VTech, those are all games that were doable. And then you have Duke. So I think this year is pretty wide open. And what's Florida State going to do? Can they bounce back after an insane year? And obviously, Tommy Castellanos is the news, over there now. And there's storylines galore in the ACC.
And as you get into the season, the CW will announce their games. But is there one venue that you're hoping that they pair you up with that you can go to this season?
Selfishly, because I am in the wine business, I hope we get Stanford and Stanford.
Yeah. I was about to say, I know I was going to get to it on the pod, but you are a big wine guy. Tell us a little bit how you got hooked on.
Yeah, so I just when I was with the Packers, Charles Woodson, who already had his own winery.
No lie, I just picked up a bottle of it.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Good for you. He did a great job. I mean, when he first started, his wine was like $100 a bottle, and then he switched it, went to Paso, and now it's like $19 a bottle. Yep. And he did a great job. It's called Intercept, by the way. And yeah, I just wanted to know more, and then I started studying and went to school for it, got certifications, started a couple of companies, the Wine MVP, which is a wine concierge company, and then I recently just launched Blackmon Cellars, my own wine, in March. So yeah, so selfishly, yeah, Stanford, and then I'd love to call a BC game. Like for me, that would just be full circle to do that.
And you look at BC, not a new quarterback, but Grayson James gets his shot, but he's also in a battle. What did you see from Grayson being around him last year, and how he kind of handled that whole situation as a whole?
Yeah, I thought Grayson was the ultimate professional. He stayed prepared. He stayed ready. Limited reps. He came in, still did his thing. He instantly gave us a sense of relief, that, hey, I got this. And yeah, it's his job to lose, but we brought in the transfer from Alabama. We signed a couple of really good kids, and commitment wise for a quarterback, Shaker Rasig, the kid from Oklahoma, he's going to be a stud. So yeah, but I think right now he's an ultimate competitor. He's very calm. He's very poised, and that's what you want in a quarterback.
And SMU will go to Boston College for the red bandana game. So can you just shed some light to SMU fans as how big is that game for Boston College?
Yeah, it's huge. Obviously because of the story of the red bandana, and it's going to be turned up. But I just know that's a great game for us to have, because we went out there, those fans are out of control. And so
I was about to ask you, we had a discussion on our message board yesterday about who's SMU's ACC rival, and at least in terms of kind of
it's 1-1. It's 1-1 right now.
Pretty good. Yeah.
Because the bowl game was kind of like their welcome to the ACC, and they lost it, and so they couldn't wait for us to come back down there. And I tell you what, their fans are vicious in terms of what they say. Oh my God, it's crazy. And so I know right now BC is that's why it's a red bandana game. So yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's a great time. I think we had Michigan State last year for our game, and that was a rock star game, man. So they do a great job.
What else did you learn about SMU on the field from that last year's game, and just how hard they are to prepare for, from what Kevin Jennings does, or from the defensive side, Scott Simons?
Well, first of all, as a staff, they do a great job of really creating like a discipline, tenacity, fight every single whistle, after the whistle type of environment. But I think what really stood out to us is we got to evaluate how far behind we were BC from a speed and from a strength standpoint, because those guys are like a track meet. They were a track meet out there, and their D line was so strong. So it really let us know, like, okay, even though it was a good game, right? We lost it at the end. They busted out a couple of touchdowns, but it was a tight battle. They had to work for it. We just couldn't sustain it from a speed and a strength and a physicality standpoint. That ended up wearing out on us. So I think, like I said, having this full off season with Bill O'Brien, they'll be able to get that up to speed.
We'll wrap on this. Good morning football.
Yep.
Huge opportunity for you. Just how excited are you? What's kind of the plan that you're going to be going through with that side of things this fall?
Yeah, I mean, my whole thing, I just want to continue to contribute to this game. I'm a football junkie. I love the history of the game. I'm an encyclopedia, and just playing, man. I was such a student, and I love to share that knowledge. Like, I'm not a hot take guy. Like, I'm not going to go there and talk trash about people to get clicks and views. And no, it works. People get paid to do it. They get paid well. But I really want to continue to like highlight the integrity of the game, the really bring the consumer in the huddle, in the locker room, day to day, and do all that stuff. So that's why I'm excited that I get to be on that platform and do that.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
hey, two former Redskins getting together, talk
Yes.
ball.
And I did play for the Redskins. My checks say Redskins. So that, you know what I mean?
I
So
never got a football team check or a Commander's check.
Yep.
So it worked out well for us. So.
all right, man.
Well,
all right,
thanks
appreciate
so
you
much
guys.
for,
Yeah, thank you, man.
stopping by. Yeah.
Thank you, fellas.
Will Blackman. Welcome back to the show. Really excited now to be joined by Stanford outside linebacker Tev Teiti. Tev, thanks for the time. I know it was quite the flight over here.
Yeah.
We talked with Colin Wright earlier. There's a lot of change at Stanford that you guys have undergone this offseason. What are you excited about with this fresh start with Coach Wright, Andrew Luck being back as the GM, all of those things?
One thing I'm excited for is just getting back into fall camp, and their coaching style is really different. It's NFL style, so I'm really happy about that. And I'm also ready for the season and going in with them. You know, they have both NFL dudes, both quarterbacks, a lot of knowledge, so you can't complain with that.
With this fresh start, what are the trademarks of Stanford football that you guys are trying to now work in under Coach Wright?
You know, we're trying to be consistent, and we try to be better 1% every day.
And for you, what are some of the main changes around this defense? Are there many changes, or is it kind of business as usual?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same as usual. We have some different things. We have 2 defense coordinators right now, so that's one of the big things, and I feel like them meshing together has been really good for the spring ball.
And what did you focus on, this off season? Just as a player, what were your main areas you wanted to improve on?
Yeah, for me, just learning the playbook in and out, learning what everybody else do, and also my pass rush moves. I'm an edge player, so you gotta win on that.
As you look at having a guy like Colin back there in the secondary, you obviously working in the front seven. What do you see from the defensive line going into the season? What excites you about that group?
Yeah, it excites me. We got some old guys on the D-line, and we also got some young guys that really showed out during spring ball. And yeah, just with them, we can create pressure, do different games, and that gives opportunity for calling them in the back end to get some picks and change the game.
Year one of the ACC, what was the travel like? What were the key takeaways for you guys now in this new league?
Yeah, one of the new things is that we're like, if it's a Friday game, we leave on Wednesday, like a day ahead, and that's been the biggest change. The time difference, obviously, and like the weather.
Yeah.
Some places are colder than others, but like our support team has been really good with us. They're taking care of us with like recovery, and like they give us a lot of information about like sleep time and like different time zones and stuff like that.
And as you guys get ready for this season, what's something people need to know about Stanford football?
Oh, we're going to be a physical team, and we're going to be dominant, and we're going to take one game at a time.
Chip on your shoulder coming in, after everything that's happened.
Mm-hmm.
And just does that make a group of players tighter?
Yeah.
You guys feel that closeness?
Definitely, yeah. We've gone through some rough season, some coaching changes, and like the people that stayed, that speaks a lot of volume, and the people that we bring with us is going to be really tight.
Awesome. Well, enjoy your time in Charlotte, and we appreciate you stopping by with us.
Thank you for having me.
Excited to be joined now by Stanford offensive lineman Seami Pal. Thanks for joining us. You are one of the veterans on this Stanford team. Started a bunch of games last year at right guard. What are you feeling about your football team heading into 2025?
Thank you for having me, first of all.
Of course.
I think I'm definitely this is the most excited I've been about our front five. I think we really got after it in spring ball, and I'm really excited to move dudes off the ball. And I think with our new offense, we'll be able to run a little more. And I'm really excited for that aspect of the game, be physical, come off the ball. So I'm excited for that.
A lot of change, a lot of things moving around at Stanford. Has that made you guys tighter as a group of players, just going through what you guys have gone through this offseason?
Definitely. I think when I think about my journey with Stanford, I think initially when I was getting recruited, I think back to the Shaw change, and we've been through a lot, but I think at the end of the day, we're Stanford men. We're not Shaw men, we're not Taylor men. We're here to play for the school, and I think we've always had that kind of camaraderie. Like, if you're staying, I'm staying. So that was definitely a question I asked in this coaching change, and I think we play for each other, and I think we're stronger because of that.
What are the staples of Coach Wright's football program that he wants to have shown this fall? And then, of course, you've got Andrew Luck running the show behind the scenes, I guess.
Definitely.
I saw him throwing passes. He's not behind the scenes, I guess.
Yeah, he's not. He's actually this quick, but he runs during our inside run period. He's handing off the ball. It's pretty cool. Like he's calling our cadence and things like that. But he set 7-team standards for us, and I think it's something like I've never really had since I've been at Stanford. Obviously, we have standards that we want to uphold, but I think materializing it and putting it down on paper and putting it up on the walls and stuff, like it's been very important to us, like upholding standards and things like that. So I really appreciated Coach Reich for doing that, and having Andrew Luck, I think having someone that's been through like excellence at Stanford, like he can speak to all aspects, whether it's like how is it like to live in the dorm, or how's it like to interact with like your professor or go to office hours or things like that, and also how is it like to be great at this school, what's it like when it's packed out in the stadium and things like that. I think it's been very important just to have like someone that's been through it all, and like someone that can carry us, like speak on his experience.
You guys have a consistent game with SMU going,
right?
Back and forth. Obviously, you hosted them last year.
Right.
What did you learn about that SMU team? Obviously, they're going to be different this year.
Definitely.
But they do have the entire coaching staff back. So, what did you learn about them and kind of their style going against their defense?
Very chippy. It got very chippy. That's probably like one of the chippier games that I played last year. But I really appreciated it. That's what college football is all about, that rivalry, that tension, and like, if I had to use one word, very chippy, very, very stout, and very competitive. So I enjoyed that game a lot. I look forward to playing this year.
Yeah, it's the most Western team outside of Cal
Outside
that you'll
of Cal.
play, so
Right.
that's kind of nice in a sense, right? Travel-wise for you guys.
Definitely. Was it? I think it's about a 2-hour flight. Yeah, it's not too bad. So yeah.
What did you learn about that first year of the ACC, whether it be travel, whether it be different brands of football, kind of the overarching view of the league?
Right. I think the travel, like we've spoken to it, me and Sam, but I think the travel is not as bad, like whether you're flying to Colorado, like my freshman year, you're flying to Colorado, it's like a 3-hour flight. Like what's the difference 2 more hours on a plane, like you're hopping on a plane anyways. And the travel, it's been pretty fun, I've never been on the East Coast really or to the South or things like that, so it's been really nice.
You got a lot of time to do homework.
Definitely.
Right?
You get a day early, you got a day off of school, just chilling. So yeah, it's been really cool.
What are you focused on, for fall camp as far as fine tuning your game and kind of getting ready for another year starting on the line?
Definitely. I think I've worked a lot on recomposition of my body and trying to have more lean body mass, and I think it'll help with like my foot speed and stuff like that. I think that's one of the things I really want to work on with my coach, like change the direction and things like that in the pass game, and also in the run game. Not getting too top heavy and just playing more under control this year would be a main point of focus for me.
Awesome. What does a successful season for you look like?
I think definitely upholding our team standards that Coach Reich set, but I also think making the bowl game would be huge for us and beating Cal.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Seami, for stopping by, and look forward to seeing you in Dallas in September.
We'll be there.
October.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
All right. Enjoy ACC Media Days.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Welcome back to the show, live from ACC Media Days in Charlotte. Now, really happy to be joined by Miami linebacker Wes Bissainthe. Thanks for stopping by.
Appreciate y'all.
You are the emotional leader on this defense for Miami, one that is experiencing a lot of change going into this season. With the fresh start, with the new coaching staff on the defensive side of the ball, what are you excited about for your final year?
Man, I'm excited for you guys to see this defense, man. I feel like this scheme is really going to fit us, and I feel like we're going to shock a lot of people.
Yeah, and what, from a schematic perspective, has really been the biggest change for you going into this season?
Man, I feel like we're playing fast. It's less thinking. We're playing fast and just reacting, and that's where I feel like we're at our best, especially as linebackers, just playing fast, downhill, and making plays.
There's a lot of staff turnover on the defensive side, but on the offensive side of the ball, there's a lot of new players. So what have you seen from the Miami offense, and what can ACC fans expect from the Hurricane offense?
I feel like they're a special group, man, with Carson and C.J. Daniels and Josiah Traders. I feel like we got a lot of key pieces, and freshmen like Malachi Tony, man, I feel like you can keep going on and on the list. I feel like it's a special group, and I see them grinding every day after practice, before practice, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like they're going to put it all together and have an incredible season.
You're from Miami. I know this means a lot to you to represent your city.
Yes, sir.
What is it, when you look at coming through this season and trying to put it all together for this city. What does it mean to you to have this final chance?
Man, it's amazing, man. I'm blessed. I'm blessed and honored to be from Miami, to be representing this school, man. I'm blessed, and I thank God every day that I'm here, man. And I wouldn't want it to be no other way.
And when the ACC added SMU, Cal, and Stanford, there were some concerns about travel. And I don't have the exact numbers, but y'all's travel schedule doesn't seem too bad. You don't go out to California, only 4 away games all season. Is that something that you're thinking about? Does that even really matter to you when you're going through this season?
Nah, not really. I just want to play ball. I just want to play ball week by week and show out week by week. Everything else take care of itself.
The first game that you guys do leave the state of Florida for is SMU. Thoughts on playing the Mustangs, and did you get a chance to watch any of them last year?
Yeah, I caught a couple games. We had a player, Bashard Smith. He actually in the NFL now. That's my guy right there. So, yeah, I'm pretty excited playing SMU. I know a couple guys over there. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, for sure.
Awesome. Well, Wes, thanks so much for stopping by. Good luck this season, and enjoy Charlotte. Welcome back to the show. Now pumped up to be joined by an old friend, TJ Pittinger from Double Fries No Slaw, one of the elite podcast show names out there. Yeah. But you cover Florida State. I mean, you got a lot of other things going on as well, but we're talking on Florida State Day. We've seen Mike Norvell, the guys get up there and talk about this program, which was probably one of the surprises nationally overall last year, and not the way they'd like to be, but a lot of changes, new offensive, defensive coordinators, some new coaches, a lot of change. What's your initial read on if it's going to be enough to get the Seminoles back into the conversation?
Well, first, let me say, On the Pony Express is a pretty good name too. That's not bad. I mean, it's not Double Fries No Solid. But
Pony express was like a $15,000 URL. So one day we'll rebrand, maybe. Yeah.
Well, it matches with On 3. It makes sense. Yeah. So we'll just say you did it on purpose.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. What's so tough? You made new coaches. I believe they brought 51 new players in between the portal and their signing class, which is both were large classes. And so there's a ton of roster turnover. They, as unpredictable as last season was, this year is equally as unpredictable. Like, Florida State has to be the toughest team to project in the country. As somebody who talks about them every day for a living, they're still incredibly hard to project. So I don't know, man, I have no clue. I do think the one glaring positive is that all 85 plus of the guys that signed up, they said yes to this. They said yes to a 2-10 program. A lot of guys last year were coming. They said yes to a 13-0 or 13-1, right? A program that was on the mountaintop. And so when that started to go south, you saw the buy-in quit. You saw the quit. You saw the guys hang their heads after week 1, right? And they were 0-2. Yeah. This year, everybody said yes to this. Everybody said yes to rebuilding. And I think that helps a lot. A lot of people have comments about Castellanos' what he said and this, that, and the. I'm all for it, man. They said yes. They're bought in. And I think that will help them. Will it work? Will they gel together? I don't know. Those are questions we'll figure out real early with Bama on the schedule. But I do think that that's a big positive is they know what they signed up for.
And you look at Tommy Castellanos, like SMU fans know him. They know what he did to them in the Fenway Bowl right before joining the ACC. The fit with Gus Malzahn, at worst, is a very good fit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if Tommy Castellanos is going to take the next steps as a passer and do this or do that. But what I do know is that, man, I could see that guy playing in Rhett Lash's offense. I could see him playing in a Gus Malzahn offense. So how that relationship and how that play on the field works is going to probably tell the tale of this team, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, Florida State was so bad in so many aspects last year. But aside from everything else that they struggled with, quarterback play was really bad too. And if your leader is really bad and you know that you can't move the ball down the field because you can't pass, you can't block, can't run. Other than that, they were great. John McKay. Yeah. Having Castellanos there and having that synergy with Malzahn. I mean, obviously he was with him at UCF. Florida State recruited him as an athlete back when he was coming out of high school. I do think that it all starts and stops there. And to be fair, they asked DJU to come in last year and be a game manager because they thought they had a good running game. They thought they had a good defense. And none of that turned out to be the case. They're going to ask Tommy to go out and win some games. And he probably will. Now, conversely, he'll probably lose them some games too. but it will rest a lot on his shoulders and what he's able to get done.
This 3-3-5 that's coming in, a big change. The guys that were here last year for ACC Media Days, I looked at them and I'm like, God, I've never covered a team that SMU is going to face that looked like that physically. Yeah. What's the defensive line looking like as far as that right athletes, size, all of that to play that 3-3-5? Because there's a lot of talk about making plays, being aggressive, all of those things. Man, the 3-3-5 is like death by 1,000 cuts of we're going to keep everything in front of us. I mean, that's how it's always been kind of taught, to me at least. So what's the read on the changes being brought in, including a new defensive line coach, which is wild?
Yeah, Terrence Knighton there coming over from Nebraska. I will say, I think that the style that Florida State played was very bend, don't break for the last couple of years. They couldn't, it was, hey, we're not going to – Clemson kicked 5 field goals, I think, in the matchup we had against them. They really tried, and it didn't work very well against SMU in that second half, but they really tried to keep everything in front of them last year. I do think there will be a lot more aggressive approach this year. Nebraska was tops of the Big Ten in turnovers last year. I think that is a symptom of a Tony White defense. I think Florida State was last in the ACC in turnover margin last year because of the offense and the defense. But they didn't force a lot of turnovers and they gave a lot away. I do think that they will be more aggressive with that approach. You asked about D-line. It all starts with Darrell Jackson up front, who just walked by.
He's
and
huge.
He is,
big boy.
He fits some of the bill that you were talking about last year with Peyton and Farmer and some of those guys that were here. It'll all come down. I mean, he'll play the nose tackle. He'll play up front, slide him over and play over a guard at times. I think he has a chance. I know Clemson's got some nasty defensive linemen. I know Miami does too. He's got a chance to play himself into a day 2 pick, I think. I think he would have to go pretty absurd to get into day 1. But I think he's got a chance. His talent is there. He really came on at the end of last year. Everybody started slow. He actually finished well, and the rest of the team didn't, obviously. But I think Darrell Jackson being there in the front and in the middle of that is – you mentioned Castellanos on the offensive side. I don't want to put it all on Jackson like it is on Castellanos, but a lot of how successful that defense is going to be how good he plays. And, again, his potential – probably a round 2 or round 3 pick. And, have that in the middle against ACC offensive lines, it can really be special.
What does this season mean for Mike Norvell? Like, how well does it have to go? I just don't see them shelling out all that money unless it is, again, kind of a bottom feeder situation. I think
if he goes 6-6, right, and no Florida State fan wants to hear that. If he goes 6-6, they'll be fine.
Yeah,
right? Like they'll bring him back. They'll kick the can down the road one more year and move on. Worse than that, I think you got to part ways. That would be his 4th losing season in 6 years. And though those other 2 were really, really good, you can't be at a place like Florida State or really anywhere in the Power 4 and have 4 losing seasons over 6. I will say with the new ACC revenue share, Florida State is potentially in the running for another $10 to $15 million a year. They don't owe him any money for a buyout up front. It's just paid out yearly. So if you make an extra $15 million a year, you could maybe afford a $9 million a year buyout. Now, does Florida State want to spend that extra money on a buyout? No, but the cash reserves would kind of be freed up a little bit with some additional money in the ACC to maybe take care of that. So, yeah, I mean, for the fan base to feel good, he needs to get to 8 or 9 wins, I think. For him to retain his job, 6, 7, yeah, you go 6-6, but you get blown out 5 times by the Clemsons and Miamis and Floridas again. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. But 6 or 7 wins probably gets him to next year.
I don't know if we've talked since the settlement between the league and Florida State Clemson. What's your take on that? And everything seems to be barreling towards 2030-ish on some potential next moves. But there's also you got to have a place to go.
Yeah.
So I think the league has done well to now do unequal revenue sharing. I think that's a big step in the right direction. You want to be in the club of Big Ten, SEC. Everybody gets that. But what's kind of your read about the settlement that went through and the court case, being locked down after that? Just overall read about how FSU felt about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think FSU approached the ACC in 2022 asking for more money, right? And they were shot down. It was, no, we're not doing this. FSU, though they may have wanted to, they never asked to leave the conference. They never asked to get out back in 2022. Now, when they sued, anytime you file a lawsuit, you try and hit a grand slam, right? You're trying to win. Yeah, we won it out yesterday. And Florida State still, I think, very much wants to get out. So I don't want to paint a picture that, they're completely thrilled with being in the ACC. If they could be in the SEC or Big Ten tomorrow, they would do it. I do think it gets back to what they originally wanted, which was more money. And now they have an opportunity to close that gap a little bit with the Big Two, the Power Two or whatever. I think they're satisfied with that. They're very thrilled with that. I think they got more than they asked for. When you look at Florida State and Clemson getting veto power over changes in the league and stuff, I mean, they never asked for that back in 2022. So I would,
they're now like the Texas and Oklahoma.
They are, yeah.
What Texas and Oklahoma should have been for the Big 12.
Yeah, and so I think they're very satisfied with how it went. I will say this, to the ACC's credit, and Florida State fans hopefully don't find this and crucify me for saying it.
I'm an algorithm.
TJ admits,
Let me remix it.
Yeah, TJ admits the ACC came out ahead. I think for the ACC's part, people always talk about when Florida State, Clemson, and Miami and UNC leave, right? They leave in 2030. Let's paint that picture. They find a landing spot in the Power Two. The rest of the league's in a crater. I don't think so. I think the settlement was really good because you look at who are the next biggest brands past those four. You're looking at your Louisvilles, your Georgia Techs, your SMU, and other teams.
Pitt, maybe. NC State.
And, with an unequal revenue sharing and money's not going away, is the Big 12 really going to be able to offer, let's say a Louisville, more money than they could potentially? Like you take a Florida State out of the ACC and a Miami and a Clemson and a North Carolina, who's doing the next best in ratings?
Yeah.
Louisville, Georgia Tech. And so they're going to be making the money that Florida State and Clemson were making. And is the Big 12 really going to be able to lure them away when they have a chance to not only maybe run the conference, but also make more money from a TV revenue? Because it's not, you have to get Florida State's ratings to get the money. No, you just got to get the highest percentage, right? And so I think the ACC actually set themselves up at least until 2036, right? With the new media deal, do things change? Does the money change? Probably. But I think the ACC set themselves up for the next 10 years to be pretty stable because I don't see the Big 12 picking off of Louisville. I don't see them picking them off.
Brand name in that league.
No, not at all.
I mean, there's some good brands doing some big things. Everybody talking about Texas Tech right now. You've got Kansas in basketball, but
that's it. BYU's a big brand. I guess they're getting big.
Yep.
But if you're Louisville or SMU or Georgia Tech, wouldn't you rather run a conference and make more money doing it? I think the league, the ACC itself, is set up pretty well past an eventual departure, which I do think eventually happens. Is it around that 2030 time frame? Is it before or after? I don't know, man. But I do think that the league's in probably a more solid spot than they were 8 months ago before the settlement went down.
Cool. Well, always. Who's your pick? It's a conference championship game. Who's getting there?
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking with somebody that covers Clemson. It feels like a race to second for me. I feel like Clemson is head and shoulders above. That's not a controversial take. But then I think it's wide open. I mean, Miami's ACC schedule sets up pretty well. They get Louisville at home. They got to go to you guys. But they don't. They play a Florida State team that nobody knows what they're going to be. They don't play Clemson. I feel like it's somebody between Miami, Louisville, and SMU. Georgia Tech's a trendy pick. I just need to see Haynes King stay healthy.
Right.
I'll go sneaky with Louisville. Sorry for the SMU fans. You made it last year.
Yeah. Louisville's a good.
I love Miller Moss. I know we were just talking about
it.
it.
I don't know how to feel about him, but I think he's.
Yeah. Louisville's probably my sneaky pick. I like Brent Key a lot. I'd love to see him get back.
Yep.
Rhett Lashley might be one of my favorite coaches here this week. I think the ACC has a lot of good coaches, but I'd probably go with Louisville. It's probably going to take them either upsetting Clemson or beating Miami on the road. But I could see them winning one of those games. And so, in Death Valley.
Yeah.
So, I could see either or both of them making it. So, I don't know, Louisville and Clemson.
All right, cool. TJ will be in touch, I'm sure, as the season rolls along. Double fries, no slaw. Check it out. And thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Thanks for listening to the On the Pony Express podcast with Billy Embody. Follow us on your socials on X at SMU3 and on Instagram at On3SMU. And keep it locked to OnThePonyExpress.com for more coverage.